Hey guys, Mr. Luke Kidd here, and this is going to be like my preview. I'm doing a series. This is the first episode. It's just a series on the previews for the rounds in the final series for the NRL. And on this episode, it will be the Rabbitohs taking on the Melbourne Storm. The game is on Friday night, I think, at 7:45, I think, so 7:45 New South Wales time. So yeah, I think it's going to be a great match. To be honest, I'm expecting the Storm to win. I think I'll try to get the teams as close as possible on this, except Dylan Walker, I think he's in the under-20 squad, so I couldn't get him in there. So I think I stuck in Matt King, who I guess would be the backup for him. So yeah, sorry for that. I think other than that, it's all right. So we're just going to go through the teams first. At fullback for the Rabbitohs, there's Greg Inglis. On the wings, Nathan Merritt and Dylan Farrell. The centres are Bryson Goodwin and Dylan Walker. The halves are John Sutton and Adam Reynolds. The props are Tom Burgess and Roy Asatasi. The hooker is Isaac Luke. The back row is Chris McQueen, Ben Teo, and at lock Sam Burgess. And on the bench they have Luke Keary, the halfback, Jeff Lima, who's a prop, Jason Clark, who's like a second row, and George Bird is also a second row. For the Storm, we have at fullback Billy Slater. On the wings, Sizzo Wanga and Justin O'Neill. At centres, at the centre we have Will Chambers and also Maurice Blair. Their halves are Brett Finch and Cooper Cronk. And their props are Jesse Bromwich and Brian Norrie. And their hooker is obviously the Australian captain and Queensland captain, and yeah, probably the best player in the world, Cameron Smith. The second row is Kevin Proctor and Ryan Hoffman, and at lock is Ryan Hinchcliffe. On the bench, they named an 18-man squad, so they've got 5-man bench, one to drop off, obviously. And that consists of Jason Riles, veteran prop. Then we have Tohu Harris Contrast. He's the youngster, the second row. Got another youngster, Jordan McLean, and also Kenny Bromwich, who's also another youngster. And an 18th man, don't think it's any surprise to anybody really. Gareth Woodop, I think he played in the reserve grade comp last week. I'm not sure what team Melbourne are, but I think he played, and I think he got through that game okay. Also, I think Brett Finch is in a little bit of doubt, so I think it's very high. There's a high percentage that Gareth Woodop will play, or highly likely, I should say, that Gareth Woodop will slot straight back into his 5'8" spot before heading off to Dragons at the start of next year. I do think this will be a class game. Like I said before, I think Storm will be a bit too good for them. I think just the experience in the big games will really pay off. Having the spine of the side for Storm is just it's class. I don't think there's no other side that beats them really. Between Slater, Finch, Cronk, and Cameron Smith, they're all representative players, and also you're throwing Gareth Woodop in there. If he comes in for Brett Finch, who's probably better than Finch as well, and he's also another international. Obviously Slater, Queensland and Australia fullback. Brett Finch was a New South Wales halfback / 5'8", but Gareth Woodop, he's a England international. I think he played fullback for England, but I'm not too sure if he's in their current squad, but he has played there before. And then Cooper Cronk is also the Australian and Queensland halfback. Cameron Smith, like I said before, he's the captain of all them big sides. Also you get other people like Ryan Hoffman. Will Chambers also, he plays well in those big games. Jason Riles, he's a veteran. He does play pretty well. But you do look at the Rabbitohs side, they do have some big game players. Greg Inglis, obviously he is a massive big game player. Sam Burgess, he does tend to play pretty well in the big games. Asatasi is another one, so is Isaac Luke. Ben Teo is a pretty good player as well. I think the real test will be how people like Dylan Farrell, Dylan Walker, all those sort of players do. I think Bryson Goodwin can handle it. I think Farrell might be able to handle it. I'm not sure on Dylan Walker. Also, Murray, he seems to play okay for club games that are big. I think there's big question marks over the halves for Rabbitohs, and they're how they control the game in the big games. I'm not so sure Adam Reynolds is as good as what everyone says he is. Like against the smaller sides, he tends to play very well. But against people like Cronk and Cherry Evans, and when he's first in a great side, he doesn't really do a lot. Except for, like, everyone keeps saying he was really good in that Manly game. But apart from that dropout that he did that went over the sideline, got the ball back, I can't really remember him doing too much. Whereas on the other hand, you got Cooper Cronk, who he just shows up time in, time out in these big games, kicking field goals. Like, he does everything. He's a class player. And Brett Finch, I think he has great experience in these games. John Sutton, he's another one. He's also like Reynolds, doesn't really show up against in these big games. But I think if they're to win this whole, like, I'm going to go as far as saying, like, for them to win the whole comp, they need to be the stars. They need to be the standouts. I don't think it's any secret. Like, they need to play well. I think that's what everyone will say pretty much. I think the hooker position, I think it's pretty even. Karen Smith, like, and Isaac Luke, I think they're two different styles of hookers. Isaac Luke is a more of a runner of the ball, and Karen Smith is just directing it around. He's kind of like the halfback at hooker. Like, his vision is, no one matches it. The back, I think the back line for the Storm, I think, is a little bit better, I would say. Scissor Wanga, I think he's pretty underrated. He's a great player. Does come up with some big plays. Also can come up with some stupid plays. As you saw earlier in the gameplay, I screwed up and dove over the line. My bad. Sorry, I had to acknowledge it. It was that big of a stuff up. Will Chambers, he played pretty well in the grand final. He has played there before. Maurice Blair's been around for a long time. I don't think he's played many finals, but, you know, he's been there. Justin O'Neill's a young one who, question marks over him. He's there due to a lot of injuries, but I think he's a great player. O'Neill, he played in the grand final, I'm pretty sure. And I think he can handle it. Bromwich, New Zealand international. Sorry if you can hear the sirens going. There's an ambulance or something going past, I don't know. Brian Norrie is an experienced head. So I'm not going to... Oh, Luke Keary on the bench for Rabbitohs. I think there's major question marks over him. I think that'd be a lot better having Nathan Peets on the bench, just because I think he's more versatile than Keary. Look, Keary can only really play 5'8" or halfback. I think it disrupts the side when he comes on. I'm not sure who he comes on for, but one of the forwards where Sutton will move into like a lock or something. But yeah, I think it really disrupts the side, and Nathan Peets can play in the forward, so it'd be a lot better to have him as a cover for those sort of positions than Keary, but, you know, that's their decision. So, yeah, I'm predicting the Storm to win. I hope you enjoyed it. Sorry if, Rabbitohs fans that I haven't predicted them to win, but that's just how I feel. And it doesn't really matter who wins this game because they get a second chance anyways, but I think whoever wins will go put a big step forward towards making the grand final and winning. Alright, I'll see you next time, and that game will be the Sharks versus the Cowboys, so I'll see you then. Bye. Hey guys, Mr. Kid here, and this is just a little sort of like preview that I'm going to be doing. So this game is the Cronulla Sutherland Sharks, and they're versing the North Queensland Cowboys. This is on Saturday night. So the date for that is, let me just check. It is the 14th of September, 2013. I think it's at 5:30 the game, and the team's just been announced. I tried my best to get the same teams on here. I think there was just a few people I couldn't get, like Jaden Hodges for Cowboys, couldn't get him because he's in the 20 side or whatever and wasn't in their main roster. So Anthony Mitchell's in there on this one, and there's probably some other ones on the Sharks side, but I can't really remember. But I'll take you through the sides. For Sharks, they're the home, well, they're not actually playing at their home. They're part of the double header. They're the first game. Oh, hang on. They play at 4 o'clock. It looks like, yeah, they play at 4 p.m. on Saturday. Sorry, not 5. So the Sharks lineup is as followed. At fullback, it's Michael Gordon. On the wings, it's CSI Feki and Bo Ryan. Centers are Ben Pomeroy and John O'Wright. 5'8", Todd Carney, halfbacks Jeff Robson, Andrew Feeder and Tim Tagatese are the props. John Morris is the hooker. Luke Lewis and Wade Graham are the second row, and Paul Gallen at lock. And their bench is Isaac De Gois, Chris Hyington, Jason Bakuya, Anthony Tupou, Bryce Gibbs and Ben Ross, 2 to be omitted. Bryce Gibbs and Ben Ross were 18th and 20th man, so they'll probably drop off. But I think Bryce Gibbs is a good player, so he could possibly sneak into that side somewhere. The Cowboys, on the other hand, they have Matt Bowen at fullback. On the wings, Wayne Alugia, whatever it is, and Antonio Winterstein. At centres, they got Brent Tate and Kane Linnett. 5'8" is Thurston, and the halfbacks Robert Louis. Their props are Matt Scott and James Tamu. Matt Scott is he's been named. I don't know whether he will play. I think I saw that it has to be cleared by the doctor, and I'm kind of thinking he won't be cleared. But yeah, Ashton Sims will come in, I think. Bro Costigan is at hooker obviously for injured Ray Thompson from a few weeks ago. Gavin Cooper and Glenn Hall are the back row, with Joel Reef-Muller coming in for Dallas Johnson, because he got injured a few weeks ago as well, and he's not back for the rest of the season. Jaden Hodges, like I said before, he's at hooker. Well, not at hooker, but he's on the bench, but he is a hooker, if you didn't know much about him, and I think he's signed with Manly for next year. Then we got Tarek Sims, Scott Bolton and Jason Tamalalo round out the bench, with Ashton Sims at 18th man. Tamalalo, I think he's a great player, he's a great talent, and I think he will come good in this final series. He's young enough, and I know my dad has seen him, and he's not a Cowboys fan, by the way. My dad seems to have a pretty good knowledge of footy, and he always said Tamalalo will be a good player, and he's starting to show that. I heard on, might have been Matty John's show, I'm not entirely sure, but they said that Tamalalo, it wasn't ability that he hasn't been in their side all the time, it's just his attitude towards things. So be interesting to see how he goes in this game and throughout the final series. I think the weak point for the Cowboys, I think it has to be their hooker position. For a long, even when Aaron Payne was there, they couldn't. In his last year, he wasn't that great, but especially this year, that they've always been missing the last sort of piece of their spine, and for years before it was the halfback. Now they got Louis, who's going pretty well, and then they finally sort of find one in Ray Thompson, who had been playing halfback for them, and he sort of kind of made the benign position his own, beating Scott Moore and Cost Jason and all that, Anthony Mitchell I think as well, and he got hurt, so Cost Jason's come in as a backup. I can't really recall too much of him. I know he came from the Storm. I think last year he was at the Storm. I don't know if he played in the grand final or not, I can't really remember. But yeah, he's come in, and I think he may be a weak point in this side. But not too sure about him. And then we got Alugia, or however you pronounce it. He hasn't played that many games. He has looked pretty strong in the games that he has played, but we'll have to wait and see how he performs in the finals. I think he will handle it fine, but obviously it's just worth noting that he hasn't really played a lot. Same with Reef-Muller. I think he came from the 20s last year. Obviously, I'm not a Cowboy supporter, so I can't confirm all this sort of stuff. It's I'm just sort of going on the spot of it. Haven't really done a lot of research into the Cowboy side. So if we go into the Sharks team, Fecky, I think he's been pretty good this season, but he doesn't have any finals experience. Then go and have a look at for Feeder. I think he's going to be their star man. Also worth noting is Thurston. I think he'll be their standout performer, as well as Brent Tate and Matt Bowen. Obviously those three are pretty good. Matt Scott, if he plays, it's pretty much all their internationals. James Tamu, another one. Yeah, for them to be winning, they need to be firing up. So yeah, I was just saying, Andrew Feeder, I think he's their main man, as well as Todd Carney. Those two. Everyone likes to think Paul Gallen is their go-to guy, and I really disagree with that. I think when Paul Gallen doesn't play, they win more. I find Paul Gallen to be a little selfish when playing, and what he does is he's pretty basic player. I think he's a little bit overrated. Because he played that one State of Origin game and made a lot of runs at prop. Everyone thinks he's the best player. He's best thing since sliced bread. I'm not saying that he's not a great player, because obviously he is a great player. He's played for Australia and like everything before that even happened. But I'm just saying, for that lock position, he's not as crucial as what people make him out to be. So yeah, for Feeder, he's really come along this season. He'll need to play well in this game for them to not get eliminated. Michael Gordon, I think he'll need to step up as well. Fullback role is very crucial in this game, and he's up against Matt Bowen, so if he's going to step up, it's going to be against Bowen. I think the weak points are that their centres. I think it's well known that Ben Pomeroy and Jonathan Wright aren't the best centres in the world. They're not the best centres going around in the league. And them pairing together, they're not world beaters. They can produce a bit of magic. Ben Pomeroy, when he knocked himself out, get the flick pass. But for the most part, they're a little bit hot and cold. I know for a fact Jonathan Wright, like at the Bulldogs, he couldn't cement a centre spot. So I don't know if that's saying something. He was a little bit younger then. He ended up playing on the wing, and now he's back in his favoured centre spot. But yeah, he's a big kid, Jonathan Wright, and I think he will become a great player in the future. But as of right now, I think Brent Tate and Kane Linnett have it over those two. Now, if I go into like analysis of like kind of positions, I'll just say that right now. So Michael Gordon up against Matt Bowen. I think Cowboys are going to win, personally. So I'm expecting Matt Bowen to outperform Michael Gordon. With the wingers, I don't know. I think Beau Ryan and Fecky probably have it over Winterstein and Lugia. But you know, they're all pretty okay. The centres is definitely Tate and Linnett, like I just mentioned before. In the halves, Thurston and Carney both really good players. Obviously, Thurston I'd say is probably the best 5'8" / halfback in the world. I don't think there's too much of a difference these days in those positions. He pretty much is a halfback, just with the number 6 on his back due to the Queensland Lockyer retiring. Robert Louis, I think he is a great player. He's young, and I'm not sure how he'll handle this sort of pressure. I'm pretty sure when he was at the Tigers, he played very well in the semis. So. Yeah, I'm not too sure. They're pretty even in the half. Jeff Robson's played in a grand final. He's a good playmaker, or sort of director of the field. The props, I think Cowboys do have it over them on paper, but they've been very up and down, the props for the Cowboys throughout the year. But lately they've been going very well. Matt Scott, I don't know if he's going to play. If he doesn't, I think it's pretty even the pack. It's pretty even pack. But if he doesn't, if he does play, I think Cowboys are over them. If you have a look at their props, you got Matt Scott and James Tommy are the two Australian props, and then you got Scott Bolton, who was a Queensland 18th man a few years ago. I guess Tariq Sims could also play there. He's been touted as a future Origin player, but yeah, for Sharks not quite as good. So yeah, pretty much the forward pack for the back row for the Sharks I think is a lot better than the Cowboys, but the different sort of players. Cowboys have workhorse back rows who run good lines, where Sharks are kind of like the agile, like the real skilled players. Also with like Paul Gallen, and he just does a lot of work. And John Morris, I'm not sure. John Morris is okay, but he's getting a bit old, and I'm not sure how his form's been this season. But yeah, I think that's how I'm going to end the video here. So you're going for 11 minutes. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like, and I'll see you for the next episode, which is let's have a look. I think it's Roosters versus Eagles. So I'll see you then. Hey guys, Miss Little Kid here, and back for another episode of the NRL Finals preview sort of episode thingy, whatever. That's relevant, but this game is going to be the Sydney Roosters taking on the Manly Sea Eagles, and this is probably the second best game of this. Obviously, these are positioned first and fourth, yes. So yeah, but two very good sides, top four sides, obviously, and there are a few things that are different in the gameplay. When I recorded it, the Roosters side, for some reason their team wasn't announced till well after the 5 o'clock announcement thing they have. I'm pretty sure it's 5 o'clock. It could be 6 o'clock, but either way, it still wasn't up. And yeah, I was trying to wait on that, but it just took too long. But for the Roosters, we'll go through their lineups first. So at fullback they have Anthony Minicello, and on the wings you have Tuivasa-Sheck and Daniel Tupou. Tuivasa-Sheck coming back in. In the centres we have Michael Jennings and Sean Kenny-Dow. At the halves we have James Maloney and Mitchell Pearce. The props, Jared Waerea-Hargreaves and Sam Maher. Now I'll talk about Waerea-Hargreaves in a sec. At hooker we have Jake Friend. At second row we have Orbison and Sonny Bill. And at lock we have Nuasala. On the bench there's Daniel Mortimer, Aidan Guerra, Isaac Liu and Dylan Napa. And also 18th and 19th man Luke O'Donnell and Martin Kennedy. Now Jared Waerea-Hargreaves, he's as of now, which is Tuesday, I'm pretty sure he's still suspended. He got 1 week, he's trying to fight it. I'm not sure when that actually is done. It could possibly be even Tuesday. So sorry if this is uploaded later and it's already done by then. But yeah, so I'm assuming Martin Kennedy will come in for him. He's the logical thing to come in. He's a logical player, as he's also a prop, and also I think he was close to playing for Queensland, so he's definitely a great player, but he is signed for Brisbane, I think. So yeah, Waerea-Hargreaves is out as of now, but I personally think he'll beat that charge. So yeah, I think Roosters will be 1-17 come game day. Sea Eagles, at fullback they have Brett Stewart. On the wings they have George Tafua and David Williams. Tafua returning from suspension from when he spat on a cop or whatever last year. I think he got suspended for the last few rounds. In the centres they have Jamie Lyon and Steve Matai, arguably the strongest centre pairing in the whole league. In the halves we have Kieran Foran and Adeli Cherry-Evans. At props we have Brenton Lawrence and Brent Kite, and at hooker we've got Matt Ballin. The second row is Anthony Watmo and Justin Horro. Watmo returning from injury. I think he could have played last week, but yeah, they just said he's injured. And at lock, Glenn Stewart. And on the bench we have Richie Fioso, Tom Simons, David Gower and George Rose, and our 8th man is James Hassan. I would not be surprised at all if George Rose drops off the bench for Hassan, but I would assume that they're just going to stay 1-17 as well. I don't think there's any suspensions in for their side, but if there is, it mustn't have been big because I can't remember them. Now, the key battles that I think will be in this game, I think the battle of the fullbacks will be big. Minicello, he's a big game player, as is Brett Stewart. I think Brett Stewart is a better fullback than Minicello, to be honest. Also, Michael Jennings up against Jamie Lyon / Steve Matai, both of them. I'm not sure who he's marked up against, but both of them are great players. And then the halves combination, we got the New South Wales halves pairing from the Roosters in Maloney and Pearce, taking on the New Zealand 5'8" and a Queensland bench player, future Origin star. He's also played for Australia, I think. No, he didn't. He didn't actually get game time. But either way, great players, and I actually think Foran and Cherry-Evans are much better than Maloney and Pearce, to be honest. And yeah, obviously Sonny Bill's going to be a big player for them, and he's up against Anthony Watmo and Justin Horro, and I think he'll have a bit of trouble. Watmo's a great player. He's had that week's rest, and he should be fresh and ready to go. Matt Ballin and Jake Friend, that's also another great matchup. Jake Friend's a little pocket rocket, although he doesn't play a whole game like Matt Ballin. So yeah, Matt Ballin he's a great player. So when I say Matt Ballin versus Jake Friend, I guess you also have to mention Daniel Mortimer, who will come on. I think the bench of the Roosters is a bit better than the Seagulls. Maybe that will help them out. Well, it will help them, but whether it will make them win, I don't know. I personally think Manly will win. And don't worry, I'm not a Manly supporter. I'm not a Roosters supporter either. I hate both sides equally. They're probably my top two hated teams. So yeah, it's kind of hard to talk real and not put them down, but both sides are quality, and I think you expect a good game on when is it, Saturday? Yeah, Saturday. It's the second game of that doubleheader at Allianz Stadium, 7 o'clock game. So yeah, go out to the game, whatever. So thanks for watching, guys. Like I said, I think Sea Eagles will win. They'll beat the Roosters. It'll be close in my opinion, but yeah, I'm expecting a Sea Eagles win. I'll see you for the next game. The last game we have is Canterbury-Bankstown Bulldogs taking on the Newcastle Knights. Now obviously I have a strong opinion on this, and it will be biased, as I am a big supporter of the Canterbury-Bankstown Bulldogs. Now I think the gameplay you're seeing here, I guarantee will not be the lineup of the Bulldogs. It is accurate. Actually, no, it's not. I picked what I think the team will end up being. Obviously, I think Barber will come in and Tim Laffey will drop out of the side. But if you're going off the official lineup, here it goes. At fullback, Josh Morris. On the wings, we have Mitch Brown and Sam Perrott. In the centre positions, we have Tim Laffey and Kristen Inu. The halves, Josh Reynolds and Trent Hodgkinson. The props are Aidan Tolman and James Graham. And the hookers, Michael Ennis. The second row is Tony Williams and Josh Jackson. And the locks, Dale Finucane. On the bench, Dean Hallertau, Sam Casiano, Tim Brown and Ben Barber. Like I said, I think Barber will drop out to fullback. He'll go to fullback. Josh Morris to the centre. I think there was a Terry Lamb interview or something, and he said that well, obviously he's thinking where's Eastwood and Pritchard, and he said that he expects him to play. So I'm guessing Finucane and probably Tony Williams will drop back to the bench, and Tim Brown and Tim Laffey will drop out of the side. So yeah, I think that's how the team will line up. So we go to Newcastle. At fullback they have Darius Boyd. On the wings, James McManus and Aquila Ioate. In the centre we have Dan Gagai and Joseph Leilua. And in the gameplay I couldn't, Leilua wasn't there, so I'm not sure if he was still at the Roosters or something. But yeah, he wasn't there for whatever reason. So I think I just put in Tahu. At 5'8" we have Jared Mullen, halfback, Tyrone Roberts. The props are David Falongo and William Mason. And William Mason has been taking jobs of people on Instagram, like Bulldog supporters, and I think he needs to get smashed a lot. I hope. We need to shut him up. He has a tendency to run his mouth and then he ends up getting smashed. So hopefully James Graham, Casiano, all them big boys will smash him. Danny Medeiros at hooker. Robbie Rocco, it says Robert there, but on the screen that I'm reading, but it's Robbie Rocco, whatever. And Bo Scott are the second row, and then Jeremy Smith is the lock forward. And on the bench we have Matt Hilder, Chris Houston, Neville Costigan, and Alex McKinnon. Obviously, I'm going to say the Bulldogs are going to win, and I think even if I wasn't a Bulldog supporter, I'd expect them to win. I think on paper this team's still better. Obviously, paper doesn't mean much. Bulldogs haven't been playing that great this year as well. Everybody already knows that, but Tim Laffey, I'm very disappointed that he will be making his way out of the side for Barber, because I'm not a big fan of Barber at this stage. But you know, you got to do what it takes to win, and Desazar thinks that Barber needs to be in the side. I'm sure if he wasn't leaving, I would say the same thing. So if we analyse like the key matchups, Barber versus Boyd, I think that will be a big matchup. Darius Boyd, he's a Australian international. He's a great player. Big game experience. He's won a grand final at fullback. He's won State of Origin and Australia games on the wing. yeah, he's probably their best. I'd say he's their best player by far. I don't think anybody even gets near him. Other key matchups will be Reynolds up against Mullen. Now, Jared Mullen, he usually has a field day against the Bulldogs. He's got a great kicking game, and with the Bulldogs wingers, they usually rush in a lot. Obviously following their centres, as that's just what they have to do, but they run in, like they come in real far and they just put in kicks out to their wingers, which for this game will be McManus and Yamate, and they'll just go in. I think they might score a few tries. I'm hoping they won't, but now Tyrone Roberts and Trent Hodkinson, I think they will heavily influence their game. Whoever has the better game out of those two, I think, will win the game. Michael Ennis up against Danny Badiris. Badiris, I think this will be his last game. I think he'll retire because I don't think they'll be going any further. Ennis, little Nicola, I loved his little comment to the ref, but it's not doing the Bulldogs any favours with penalties and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, he's a good player. I don't think he's a great player, but he does good defensive work, and yeah, that's all I've got to say. Tony Williams up against Beau Scott. Tony Williams, I think, will drop to the bench. That's what always seems to happen. So either way, Tony Williams or Frank Pritchard or whoever starts. Well, it doesn't really matter who starts, but them in the second row, I think that'll be a great matchup. Beau Scott, a former New South Wales player, and Tony Williams, former New South Wales as well, and Australia. Both big units. Tony Williams, I think, is a much better player when he's in form. I think Beau Scott's been playing injured. I'm not sure if he's still injured, but I think I remember hearing that he's playing with like torn ligaments in his foot or some shit. But yeah. And last but not least, we got James Graham up against Willie Mason. I think this is going to be a fiery game. James Graham, very passionate player. We saw last year, he's obviously the biting incident. That was all adrenaline, all that sort of stuff. But I think the main one was against Manly when it was telling Jason King to run again, son, run at me again, or son, or something like that. And I think it shows that he's up for all these big games. And I think we'll expect to see a big game from him. So I'm expecting the Bulldogs to win, and I think they'll win comfortably, to be honest. At least I'm hoping so. I can't stand all those real close games. I'll have a heart attack soon. But I'm going to leave it with that. I hope you enjoyed all those little previews. My word is not gospel, so don't take this the wrong way if I didn't pick your sides or you don't think my analysis was good enough or whatever. Constructive criticism would be great. But yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching. I'm not sure how long this is going to go. But yeah, I'll see you for next week for finals week round 2, whatever. Week 2, I should say. So I'll see you then. Bye.